What's up, YouTube? Element here, back with another episode review for episode 9, Assault. This is it, folks. We are at the final assault on Lothal. This is going to be our last episode for a while now, probably until after Star Wars The Last Jedi, understandably. Speaking of which, Rian Johnson has done such a good job. He's signed on to do a whole new trilogy based on a new set of characters and possibly a different part of the universe that has nothing to do with the Skywalker family. I'm pumped. I think this is a great idea, as we've had and are going to have at least 9 episodes now primarily based on the Skywalker family, and I'd love the opportunity to explore the mythos and lore of the Star Wars universe from a whole new angle. It has all sorts of implications and makes me super excited, because why not explore the Kenobi family, or perhaps Caleb Doom, or just in general explore an entirely new story that's not about a family at all, but about the mythology of the Force and its origins. It also resulted in a live-action TV series that will be coming to Disney's streaming service. Now, this is all coming off of the heels of how good of a job and how good of a movie Rian Johnson has delivered to Lucasfilm and Disney. Which begs the question, is it entirely based off the merit of this movie, or did Rian Johnson possibly tap into a story element or a narrative that is worth investigating further? We'll just have to find out. I'm kind of torn on the live-action TV series because it's going to Disney's streaming service. I want a live-action TV series, obviously, especially if it's going to be done on par in quality and writing with Star Wars Rebels, but I'm hesitant about the streaming service. It just screams all kind of Star Trek Discovery. I'd love to see a live-action Star Wars series on HBO or Netflix. At least that way we may be entitled to some real creative freedoms. But on to the episode review. Hera is finally in an X-Wing, and it just gives me goosebumps when she says lock S-foils into attack position. This is the battle between Rebel Alliance and Grand Admiral Thrawn. We're treated to a pretty epic and spectacular space battle as the Rebel Alliance makes their push past Thrawn's blockade in order to attack the factory and fuel depot on Lothal. Hera manages to also lure Scarus into a disadvantageous position as she wins the dogfight and removes him from the playing field. This is Hera's episode. She is kicking some major ass, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Unfortunately, the assault falls short as Thrawn's second wave annihilates them. Hera and Mart crash land in the city, and it all comes down to survival. Kanan is definitely hurting on the inside, and Ezra can feel it. Hera finds Mart, and they both try to continue with the mission on foot as they are stopped by Rook. Now, I know that Hera has been kicking ass, and I want her to kick more ass, but as much as I wanted that to happen, she definitely didn't stand a chance against Rook. On his way to save Hera, Kanan runs into the Loth Wolf again, and something strange happens. All the Loth Wolf says to Kanan is doom, yet again, but apparently this time Kanan knows exactly what the wolf means. The identity of this wolf, or at the very least who it represents, is constantly bugging me. This episode is just delivering on all fronts. The stakes have never been higher. Warwick Davis has a lot of work ahead of him as he's relegated to just a bunch of sniffs and grunts in this episode, but nonetheless, he does a fantastic job. Hera ends up being captured in the end, and Kanan is well aware of her sacrifice. He does say there is something he can do, as it's paired with the final scene of the wolf grimacing at him. God, the hype is real. Now we have to wait a few months until the continuation, and I can't wait. The calculating nature of Thrawn was on full display. Hera was able to break through the blockade, but I'm more inclined to blame that on Scarus overextending his reach and giving Hera the opening she needed, but of course, Thrawn was prepared for every step of the encounter, and the assault was a failure. Now the Ghost Crew not only has to worry about Hera being held captive by Price, but the fate of Lothal and the success of the mission now hinges on them. With the main attack force seemingly thwarted, it's up to the ground team in the Ghost Crew to bring this mission to a successful close, and hopefully they can do it. One thing's for sure, among the ground team are the darling couple of the season, Ezra and Sabine, and their explosive shenanigans was missing from this episode, which means when the Rebels comes back next year, we're due for another Ezra Bean date. The next dose of Star Wars we now have to look forward to is now The Last Jedi. Stay tuned for my review of Star Wars The Last Jedi, and for sure my next theory video about it. Having released one of the first theories about Rey's origin being tied to the Kenobi family, I am super stoked and excited to see what we'll learn with this movie, and I'll be there on day one to provide you guys with all of the speculation goodness when Last Jedi hits. Until then, Rebels family, May the Force be with you.